Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're back here talking about the Green Bay Packers sitting at 8-8, primetime football. Lions at Packers, winning urine for Green Bay. And the Packers have something in their favor. Obviously, they've won 4 straight games. They're playing at home. Aaron Rodgers is being Aaron Rodgers. The defense is being their defense. They have just interception galore. They have 9 picks in this 4-game winning streak. That's more than 6 NFL teams this season. They've given up just 4 pass plays of 25 yards. They allowed 22 in their first 12 games. The starting secondary has now gone 6 quarters without allowing a 25-yard pass, the longest streak of the season. But most importantly, this team is healthy. Before we get into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I post daily NFL content. I've been posting daily Packers videos because I'm a cheesehead. And I'm loving what we're doing right now. And I feel so good. And I have no reason to believe right now, as it stands, why we're going to lose that game on Sunday against Detroit and get into the playoffs. And from there, who knows what's going to happen. I'm going to keep my expectations in check. But we got to take care of Detroit tomorrow. This game is tomorrow. It's like, what? I'm not great at math, but it's like 36 hours from now. The Detroit Lions are actually trending. Now, all right. Here's the thing. I know Rashawn Gary got injured, and I know losing Rashawn was a huge blow. And I know when we take a look at the Packers' defense, they're technically giving up about 22 points a game. They are not a top defense. They're just outside of like the halfway point. They currently rank number 17 in defensive rating. All right? Well, that's what the difference maker is. Then the last 4 games is turnovers. Their defense is the difference maker right now. And I know, like I said, I know Gary going down hurts. But guys like John Reed have really stepped up in the absence, in the wake. Kenny Clark has been getting a lot more pressures. Just the defense in that 8-game stretch when we went 1-7, they were out on the field the whole game. And they never were able to get a breather. We weren't running the football on offense. It was just a whole mess. But the Packers currently, as it stands, only have 3 starters on their IR. Gary, Stokes, and Lowry. That really is almost as healthy as you possibly can get at this point in the season. Now, when we take a look at some teams like Philadelphia, where they are losing, or not losing, but you currently have an injured Jalen Hurts, even when Jalen comes back for the playoffs, which we all know he will, first-round bye or not, is he going to be fully healthy? We know Aaron Rodgers has played through a broken thumb this season. We know he was gone through actually a bunch of injuries. So the fact that we have just 3 players on IR it's a difference maker to me. Now, Detroit. Detroit's a great football team, and I know that their future is extremely bright. And I know that for a team that started off 1-6 to get to 8-8, that's very impressive. All right, you have to give it to him. Dan Campbell is very likable. It's very hard to actually not like what the Detroit Lions are doing. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I used to live just outside of Detroit, but I don't think this is the year for him. And I'm so sorry, Lions fans, if you guys are watching this video, I apologize. But I have no reason to believe after last week that it was a pure and utter domination. Like, if you're a Packers fan and you missed that game, I hope you've watched the highlights several times, because I've watched the highlights several times and I was watching the game live. I mean, I came into it with high expectations, because even though we are not at the top of the NFC North, technically speaking, we still own it. We're still the Kings. We're still the top of the NFC North. The Packers are still the team to beat in our division, regardless of what our record indicates. I know we're 8-8. I know Minnesota's had a good season. They've had a lot of impressive 1-game wins, and at the end of the day, a win is a win, and they have a lot more than Green Bay, but it was embarrassing. The Packers this past Sunday didn't allow a 20-yard completion until after their defense was pulled in the 4th. The Packers were up 41-3 against a quote-unquote top team in not only the NFC, but in the NFL. All right, so we're firing on all cylinders. And I know that the Packers have had some tough losses in the playoffs in the next couple of years. But we'll tackle that. We'll deal with that when it comes. I'm focused on Detroit. And when we go back to, what was that, 2 months ago? or maybe even a little bit, no, it was about 2 months ago, that lost 9-15 against Detroit. It's just a completely different Packers team. That put us at 3-6. That got the Lions streak starting. Aaron Rodgers, 291 yards, touchdown, 3 interceptions. What was the difference, Baker? Well, Aaron Rodgers led the offense in rushing yards. I actually do not know how that physically happens. Now, I'm not knocking on Detroit, but statistically, defensively, they are one of the worst in the league. They have been improving vastly, especially on this, winning 7 of their last 8 football games. Like I said, it started against Green Bay when Detroit was at home. Home field's also just a huge difference maker. I don't think the Lions are ready for it quite yet. Aaron Rodgers led the Packers in rushing yards with 40. 4 attempts, 40 yards. A.J. Dillon, 11 attempts, 34 yards. It's just 3.1 yards per carry. That's not going to work. And Aaron Jones, 9 attempts for 25 yards. That's just 2.8 yards per carry. So neither of that's going to work for me. I don't know about you guys, but that's not going to work for me. Last week, Aaron Jones, that was when he just completely was Aaron Jones. 7.9 yards per carry, 14 attempts, 111 yards. It's 8 yards per carry. All right. Now, Christian Watson also. We've been talking a lot about Keyshawn Nixon the entire week, and he's a stud for sure. And hopefully we can get some special magic from him as well this upcoming weekend. But I heavily anticipate we're going to see more Christian Watson this week, just like we have really in the last 4 or 5 weeks. It actually even goes back further than that. When it started against Dallas, when he caught 4 balls, 107 yards for 3 touchdowns. This past week against Minnesota, although we mainly ran the football and Aaron Rodgers didn't throw too much, it was mainly just kind of keeping your foot on the gas. He did see 5 total targets, but Christian Watson ended that day with just 1 catch for 11 yards. That 100% is going to change. And keep in mind, he still is limited in practice, but he was not fully healthy. He was definitely not 100%. So I think we're going to see a lot more of Christian Watson, and that's what you got to do in big-time games like this, is get it to your playmakers. So I'm looking at Christian. I'm looking at Rodgers. Hand the ball off to Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon in the red zone. He's got 7 touchdowns on the season. Throw it to old reliable Allen Lazard. It's crazy we're doing all of this with our current receiving core. I mean, now the future looks extremely bright, but the way the season started, Christian Watson's drop, Dobbs wasn't able to stay healthy, Watson wasn't really able to stay healthy, Cobb landed himself on the IR. The way the season started with the wide receivers and the way it's ending, no matter what happens on Sunday, we have good reason to be excited. So hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys enjoyed today's video. And stay tuned for more Packers content, but most importantly, show some love down below. What are your thoughts on this Packers team?